Onboarding clients for your social media marketing agency, honestly, is just an art. And in this video, I'm going to be revealing not just any kind of tip or any kind of theoretical advice, but I will be revealing my exact onboarding process that I personally use for my own social media marketing agency that did over $10,000 per month when I was just 20 years old. In fact, this is the exact onboarding process that I'm also using for my consulting business Uability till date in order to deliver outstanding results. Till date, we have signed over 1,600 plus clients and agency owners and produced over 900 plus documented case studies. And one thing that I can tell you, one of the primary reasons for our fulfillment success is by having the right kind of onboarding. Now, in this video, what you will be witnessing would be a short clip from my original program that I have actually just given access to only my paid students so far. But today I want to show it to you for absolutely no cost here on my YouTube channel so that you can also onboard your clients seamlessly using an automated fashion while setting the right kind of expectations so that they get the maximum results. So make sure to watch this video till the end so that you can turn your onboarding process from average to outstanding. Now, here's what we will be covering in this particular lecture. Number one, I'll be sharing with you the 3 exact reasons why most consultants, service providers, and entrepreneurs actually fail when they begin working with their clients. The second thing that I will share with you is how to set the right kind of expectations with your clients before starting the work so that there's no confusion or any kind of misunderstanding in the future. Then I'll be sharing with you how to make everything legit in the form of written agreement. So I'll share with you how to send e-contracts to your clients and then obviously make sure that they have paid the invoice successfully. After this, I'll be talking about how to retrieve assets from clients for our consulting journey. Now, whenever you will be beginning to work with the client, you might require some sort of information or some sort of assets directly from your client that will help you throughout your journey. In my particular scenario, I require some sort of softwares and some sort of tools from the client's end in order to get started. Now, similarly, it may or may not be applicable to your niche, so I'll be sharing with you that regardless. The fifth thing that I'll be sharing with you, how to learn about the needs of your clients before beginning the work. So most people make the mistake of not exactly understanding what the client is wanting, and they end up delivering something that is not necessarily what the client expected in the first place, and this leads to a lot of problems. So I'll make sure that I teach you how to get all this information directly from the client first before you get on to the work and everything else. And then finally, I'll share with you how to book your first client meeting. So after you have signed the client and everything, and they have gone through all the procedures that I talked about before, then they could officially book a meeting with you where you could discuss about brainstorming strategies plus other important things that we'll explain later on. Now, before we get started into the good stuff, let's just try to understand why most consultants and entrepreneurs actually fail. What are the 3 reasons behind it? The first one is reason number 1, which is headache and chaos. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, number 1, when most consultants, service providers, and entrepreneurs begin working with clients, they end up not setting the right kind of expectations regarding the communication channels. And what ends up happening is the client even ends up calling them at 12 a.m. at night without following any kind of protocol. And this way, most consultants or service providers really have to work outside of the hours that are dedicated or for what you are being currently compensated for. So this is unfair, and this kind of behavior is definitely not acceptable. However, this can cause future headaches for you when you try to scale this business. And this is what bothers a lot of consultants and service providers out there. And yeah, I could relate to it because I've faced similar situations, and then later on I'll teach you how to fix this. But keep in mind right now that this is one of the issues that these people face. The second issue that you could potentially face, and a lot of consultants and service providers face, is client demanding services that are not in the agenda, or they are maybe out of scope of the project, or maybe require some sort of extra cost on your end which was not agreed upon before. Now, obviously, if somebody tries to get extra out of you, especially when you're trying to work with local clients, you must have encountered, if you have past experience, that they try to squeeze out as much as possible from you. And again, this kind of behavior is not acceptable at all. And how can I relate to this situation? Just to give you an example, when we would, let's say, be offering a service like Facebook ads exclusively, there would be times when the client would be like, oh, can you just do SEO for us as well? Or can you just post on our social media profiles as well? And can you manage all the comments and everything as well? And this was not, inside the scope of the project, yet the client demanding things like that used to, waste a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, a lot of our resources. And this is definitely not something that is recommended. And the third issue that you can face is clients losing their confidence and giving up too early. Now, anything in life, right, regardless of what kind of consulting or service or coaching that you're providing to any individual, results take time. And you should understand that there's nothing called as shortcut success. And similarly, you must make sure that your client understands the same thing, because if they do not, and what ends up happening is, after a week or two of, beginning the services, they will start instantly or magically expecting results, which are obviously not going to be in front of them, because it doesn't, take such a short time. So you must make sure that, this part is fixed. Otherwise, it's going to cause a lot of issues. To give you an example of this, now, when I was running ads for some of my clients initially back in the days, if they did not see instant progress within like 1 or 2 weeks, they would like get really panicky, and they would start losing their confidence, and they'd be like, oh, I don't want to invest more money into ads, and they might want to, they might want to pull the plug and just cancel the service. Now, this is not acceptable, because at least in my field, and I'm pretty sure in any field that you are currently in, it takes time to get results. You do not get results instantly. Whether you're doing fitness, whether you're trying to do interior designing, IT services, ads, literally anything, it takes time to get results. Now, if that's the case, right, you must make that explicitly clear to your client, which I'll show you how to do. But this is one of the main issues that a lot of consultants and service providers currently face. Now, the other issue could be clients disrespecting you or your staff, maybe not treating you at an equal level, or maybe, disrespecting and not following the code of honor. And this could obviously cause, issues, because why do you want to work with somebody who's not going to treat you right? And obviously, this is not acceptable at all. However, most consultants and service providers, they try to just do it anyway, because they operate with the mindset of scarcity. First and foremost, they don't set the expectations right. And secondly, they allow that misbehavior from the client, and they just keep on going with it, because they're operating with scarcity, because they think that they are the only client in the world who would pay them money. They do not realize that there are other fishes in the sea as well. So this is a very common problem that a lot of people inside of this industry actually face. Now, fifth one would be client asking for consistent discounts and delaying the payments. You must understand that such clients, this is just not acceptable, because you must realize whatever service or advice that you're offering to your clients, and if you followed every single thing that I covered inside of this program, whatever you're offering will result in a core transformation for the client, and nobody can put a price tag on that. So this basically means that asking for discounts or giving discounts, besides the incentive-based pricing that you might do when using the sales script, is not acceptable. So discounts is not obviously acceptable. And the other thing that's not acceptable is when you agree with the client that on a certain date and time they will be making the payment, and they do not do that, again, that's also not cool. Because obviously you might have working capital requirements and a lot of different kind of things going on. And other than that, it just doesn't showcase good behavior, in the eyes, in basically for the customer, right? And it's just not cool. So what you must realize is that these are the various kind of headaches and chaos that a lot of consultants and service providers face when they are trying to work with clients. And the final thing that I want to talk about is low retention rates. Now, this basically means that client often blaming you for obviously the work and not seeing the results, and then leaving you for somebody else, or just basically giving up on the whole project. Now, this basically happens when you have not made the client understand their key roles inside of the business and what your role would be. And you fail to make them understand that this is a partnership effort. And this often leads to low retention rates. This means clients just leaving you. And again, if you operate with this business model, then it's going to be like a bucket that you have where you're consistently pouring water, but there's a leakage at the bottom and the water is just flowing out. So there's no point doing more marketing if the clients will leave you. So in order to fix all these problems, we have to set the expectations right. So now, talking about why exactly all these issues arise, what's the reason behind it? And as I was telling you before, this is because the expectations were not set in the first place. This means that you did not make it super clear to the client regarding all these details before beginning the work. Because what ends up happening is, let's say you work with you meet a client and you get started with the projects and everything else, and they might say something, oh, so yeah, what exactly you will be doing? And you reply to them something like, oh yeah, I'll be doing marketing for you. And things are not made super clear to them. And then what ends up happening is you get started with the work and the client would be like, where is that particular item that I requested? Where is that? Oh no, this is not working. Oh, you're not really good at it. Oh, it's taking so much time. Oh, it's taking so much money. All these things could happen. And again, this is not right. So you must set the expectations before you get started with any kind of client. So this is kind of like, when you're trying to, board a plane and you see the flight attendant doing some safety demonstrations, and you must understand that they're trying to, set certain expectations that yes, this flight could potentially crash, and these are the measures that you must take in order to secure yourself and your family from such an event. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to these demonstrations, and that's why they are done before the flight actually starts. Every single thing is made super clear that these are the rules. You have to make sure that you're wearing the seatbelt. If you don't, then we're going to call on you, and it's just not going to be accepted, etc., etc. So similarly, we do something similar with our clients to make sure that they understand how they could make this a smooth journey, a smooth flight for them, and get the result, whatever transformation that they're looking for. So without correct expectations, you enter an unknown relationship, which often results in problems like mentioned before. Because think about it, these things weren't made clear to the client. So you can't just expect them to know all these things by default. You can't, right? So it's your duty as a consultant and service provider that before you begin the work, you make sure that all these things are super clear. Now, the second reason why a lot of consultants and service providers and entrepreneurs actually fail includes wastage of time. This basically means spending time doing things that do not produce the main result. Now, another issue that consultants face includes doing too much back and forth, chasing clients for things that can be taken care on automation. Now, chances are that you might require a particular software from the client. Chances are that you might require certain inputs from the client, and certain information, certain assets, certain graphics, let's say, or any particular kind of information or tools that are necessary before you begin the work for them. Now, what ends up happening is most consultants and service providers, they would spend a lot of their time, let's say going and doing physical meetings with the clients, maybe meeting their team and retrieving all this information from them. And then they have to call them so many times to get these particular resources, because obviously, without getting these resources, you can't begin the work. And then the client is also waiting because they have already paid the invoice and they think that the work has begun. But the thing is that you're still too busy coordinating with their lower team, because you haven't been able to retrieve the important information that is required to actually get started. And then it's just like very, very chaotic. And then it just wastes so much of time that you can't even imagine. So for us, this included things like asking for passwords or setting up the Facebook Business Manager, maybe retrieving graphics, like logos and everything to run the campaigns and everything, and other important information. And what I started noticing is that it would take me like around about a week, or like at least 3-4 days, to basically call the client back and forth. Then I had to show them a demonstration regarding how to give all these things to me. And then maybe they would send it via email. Then the email would sometimes go to the spam folder. It's just like really, really chaotic. And it was wasting a lot of my time. And I basically needed a better solution for this. Now, what that better solution would be, I'll talk about that obviously later. However, let me talk about the third reason why most consultants and entrepreneurs actually fail, which is mismatch of expectations and output. Now, consultants and coaches begin the work without truly understanding the core problem of their clients and the exact outcome that they are looking for. Okay, because think about it, we are human beings, and every human being has obviously brain, and they have their own thoughts. They have so many different kind of things going on in their mind. Now, in order to make somebody understand what exactly you want inside of your head and put that into a format so that the other person understands the same thing, you have to use words. And words are communicated, and then sometimes they are said in brief conversations, sometimes they are just said randomly, and they are not, there's lack of clarity when you begin this journey with the client. So these words and these output that's like inside of your client's mind is not made clear by the client, because most consultants fail to ask them in the first place, what exactly are they looking for? What is the exact output that they are looking for? And based on that, they could get started with the things accordingly. Now, since this job is not done of asking somebody what they want exactly, and that exact information is not retrieved in the first end by the consultant or the service providers, what ends up happening is a lot of chaos, and then the client ends up blaming you that, oh, you didn't do the work as I told you to do. This is not exactly what I wanted. Why did you get me this project like in this condition? So all these, this mismatch actually happens between the expectation and the output that you end up producing. So the solution is pretty simple. You just ask the client what they want and what exactly they are looking for before starting the work. So as I was saying, this leads to mismatch and expectations. Now, for example, let's talk about our particular scenario. Well, for us, when I was running Facebook ads and digital marketing for other people, it was really important to know the exact target clients a market was looking for or is looking for, so that we can align our paid marketing methods accordingly. Now, this means that, let's say, if I'm running an ad campaign for my client and they were expecting that I only want to attract HNIs in, let's say, Bangalore region who are interested in buying a property, and they also belong to the IT industry. That's like very specific. Now, that's the idea that the client had in mind. Now, if I won't ask them this question and I just begin the work, then I might just end up producing them, let's say, normal HNIs or normal people interested in real estate, and that might not align with what exactly they were looking for. And then obviously this is going to cause a lot of problems in the future. So it's best to know this information in advance. Now, without this knowledge, we could potentially get, we could potentially get them the clients that they don't want, as I was telling you before, getting them the clients that they are not looking for. Now, similarly, maybe in fitness, you might want to know about their current diet and workout routine, what they eat, what they don't eat, so that you can adjust to things accordingly. Now, let's say if somebody is a vegetarian and you end up creating a non-vegetarian diet for them in the future, then obviously that's not going to benefit anybody. Or maybe you end up creating a diet for them without knowing what kind of allergies that they have before. So it's really important to know this stuff before you get started. Now, again, this could be applied to interior designing. It could be applied to IT, coaching, NLP, mindset, literally anything that you're trying to do, so that you can understand their current situation and their desired situation, and based on that, fulfill the project accordingly. Now, just to recap really quickly what we covered, the three exact reasons why most consultants and entrepreneurs actually fail. Reason number one was because of headache and chaos. I talked about the various kind of issues that they face or could potentially face. And the second one was time being spent on vanity things rather than productive things. By vanity things, I mean things like retrieving certain softwares, assets, platforms, and all those things, rather than focusing on the main thing, which could help them produce results. Let's say, working on the main thing. And then the final thing, the final reason why most consultants and entrepreneurs fail would be mismatch of expectations and output. So this basically means that the client might want something, and then you might end up delivering something else to them, and then there's like a war that you didn't deliver me what exactly I was looking for. Now, this is obviously an issue, and these three things are an issue. So how do we actually avoid these issues for our business? Because that's the reason why you're part of this program, so that you don't have to worry about these things. You can actually ensure that you can fix these issues faster with the help of this program. Now, to fix these issues, because I was once in your shoes and I was facing these problems as well, I decided to create something called as a 5-step onboarding funnel that I'll be giving you exact copy paste that you can also start applying. And this will ensure that these three reasons why somebody would fail, three reasons don't happen with you, because you can, take care of all these things from day number one itself. Now, let's talk more about what exactly this 5-step onboarding funnel is. Well, what exactly is this? Well, to prevent the three key issues discussed earlier, we have created an automated system that we will be sending to our clients through our new clients through. This will ensure that we set the right expectations of our clients from day number one, retrieve all the assets at the beginning without doing any kind of back and forth follow up later on, and get all the necessary information from the clients to ensure that we can deliver according to their exact expectations that they have. Now, why exactly you should use this? Well, this funnel would save you time, keep your clients happy, and secure you from all the chaos that you can face in the future, the various kind of issues that I discussed before. Now, how does it look like and how to implement the same thing? Well, before getting started, let's just look at all the 5 steps, what exactly they consist of, what are they made of, etc., etc. Now, these are the 5 steps. As you can see, this is step number one, which is an expectation video page. Now, over here, we create a small video explaining to our client that, hey, we want to just welcome you to a brand new program or service or whatever you're offering to them. And then we explain to them what your service can consist of, what it doesn't consist of, and how they can get that at an additional fee if you want to offer the same thing. And then you can talk about how to make this a great partnership with you, how to make this a bad partnership with you, and all these basic things you can cover inside of this video, so that they do not have any confusion later on. And then once you have explained all these things inside of a video format, we take them to page number 2, where we confirm that they have signed the e-contract as well as paid the invoice successfully. Now, this is very, very important because it's important to have whatever expectations that we are providing to them, to have that in written format as well, which they are legally signing and agreeing to as well, so that there's no problem in the future. Then the third thing, the third step of this funnel would be platform setup. So over here, we would be retrieving some important tools and assets directly from our clients. Now, these tools and assets will be helping us throughout our journey. Now, this is optional for people because chances are that you might not require any kind of tools, or maybe you require. It totally depends upon a case by case scenario. In my scenario, I required information like their business manager, their social media accounts, and everything else to get started with the work. So that's why I created this step. Now, step number 4 is onboarding questionnaire. This is where I ask people, information about their their requirements. Okay, what exactly are they looking for? What kind of clients do they want? In your case, it could be totally something um, tailored towards your niche. What exactly are you looking for from them? What kind of information you require from them in order to begin the project? Okay, so this will make sure that the expectations and the outcome that you will be providing, they will match, when the delivery time comes, and the client won't be like surprised that, okay, what's this, or client would be sure that they have provided you certain input, and based on that you will be providing them the output. So that this takes care of that as well. And then finally, once we have all these 4 things ready, then we book our first client meeting. We book a meeting with our client to basically just brainstorm the strategies and how you will be working throughout this whole journey. And you will be also explaining to them about the various kind of systems that you will be utilizing throughout the process, and the various kind of communication channels that you will be using throughout this journey of yours. Now, again, don't worry about all that stuff. We'll be covering the systems and communication and your first client meeting part later on inside of this program. However, focus on this onboarding funnel that we will be creating today. Now, um, what I want to do first is, before we even get started, I want to show you how this onboarding funnel actually looks like. So let me show you how this funnel actually looks like. You can also preview this by going to rohanthavan.co.in/onboarding. So as you can see, this is a pretty straightforward video that will talk about, how somebody needs to have the right kind of expectations when they are working with us, what exactly they should expect, what exactly they should not expect in the service that I'll be providing to them. Okay, so this is a really good way to start off things with clients, and this will ensure that they have a great experience with you and actually end up getting results rather than bothering you and having this partnership discontinued and not being cooperative and everything else. Okay, so it's a very good idea to set the expectations right from day number 1. And then what you can see is, inside of onboarding step number 2, we get them to sign a contract and pay the invoice. Okay, so it says, congratulations on completing step number 1 of our onboarding process. If all instructions were followed successfully, you must already know what to expect in the next 90 days with us and what we can expect to you from you. So now it's time to sign the contract and pay the invoice, right? So we'll send them the invoice and contract via email. They just pay that, and then we just click on next step, and then it says platform tools and setup. So after they have signed the contract, we have to make sure that we give them some instructions so that we can retrieve certain information from them. Now, in case your business requires you to have some sort of tech, or any kind of assets that you want to receive from them or anything like that, then it's always a good idea to provide instructions. And what I've done is, I've actually given you this entire onboarding platform setup guide, which I did for my clients whenever I required assets. So you can edit this and create your own one based on your own requirements and everything else, depending upon whatever niche you are into. And then once I click on next step, this step, basically gets the, you know, so we basically ask our client certain questions before we get started. So that, questions like what does their ideal client look like, what kind of clients do they not want, and how can we get access to certain assets of theirs like graphics and ad account and everything. Okay. Now, this might be different for you depending upon what kind of services that you provide. But to show you an example of this, I've created this form that you can see over here. And you can see this form actually asks all the necessary details from somebody that I required at that time. Now you can watch this at your own pace and just do it and follow along the instructions. And once we have retrieved certain questions from them, this is very important because now we already know before we get on a call with them the things that they are looking for and the things that they are not looking for. And the final step of this funnel is to book your first meeting with them. So as you can see, before they even get on the first meeting with us, we have actually already done work that a lot of consultants and agencies chase after their clients, worth for multiple weeks, and we have already done this like so quickly. So as you can see, this is pretty neat. And then the client will have the option to essentially pick and choose um, the date and time when it's convenient for them to actually get started with things. So that's what I would recommend when trying to actually get started with this. Now you might be saying, okay, Rohan, that sounds cool, but how do I build this? Well, to make things simple for you, what I've done is I've given you access to this exact plug and play document, which consists of a video of its own. So if you click on this particular link, you will be redirected to a video which explains exactly how to create this entire funnel in detail, right? So it's a pretty step-by-step guide. I would highly encourage that you watch it till the end, and that should give you an idea regarding how to create this entire funnel from the scratch. That being said, let's talk about our entire onboarding process that we will be following as soon as we get our first client. What exactly we will be doing in order to sign a client, get a client and make sure that everything is followed successfully and thoroughly. Because right now you have just built the funnel, but now let me show you the exact step-by-step guide regarding what to do once you have your first client. So after developing our funnel, we will be following a systematic step-by-step process to onboard our clients. And in order to do this, we will be utilizing something called as the client onboarding process document that is also given below this video for download that you can easily access. This will look something like this, as you can see, client onboarding process that you can follow. So in this plug and play, you will be learning how to begin the journey with your new client. We do this by sending them a delightful welcome email, a link to our onboarding form, a funnel, e-contract to make things legal, and the ability to book their first consultation call with us. Again, very simple. So let's follow the instructions. Step number one is to send them a welcome email to the clients with the next steps to move forward. Now, this is the part where you send an email to your clients, preferably after they have made the invoice payment. To receive the payment from your client, check out this worksheet covered inside of week number 3. Now, if you don't already know how to accept payments from clients, then this was covered inside of week number 3. And I would recommend that you check out this worksheet that's provided to you over here, which shows you how to accept payments, right? And if you already know how to do that, then congratulations. Inside your welcome email, we need to congratulate the client for making the payment. Also, we need to redirect them to our onboarding funnel that will take care of other important elements of the process. So what we will be doing is we will be going to Gmail or whatever email service that you use and send your new client the email by taking inspiration from this template below. So as you can see, this is a template that we will be using. Again, you can edit this based on your requirements, just change the blocks, and you will be able to create a template of your own. Let's say the email of my client is test@client.com. What I could do is I could just copy this this whole thing, just paste it over here, and then I could say something like, "Welcome to Rohan Dhawan Consulting." right? And what you have to do is obviously you have to edit uh, link over here, okay? And then what you also have to do is insert the link to your onboarding funnel. And then you have to make sure this is not italicized. And yeah, this will make it look more professional. And then just fill in the blanks, and then you would be able to send this exact template to your client so that things are rolling smoothly. Now, the step number 2 is that this includes the link to your onboarding funnel inside of your welcome email. Now, this funnel will act on automation to start your consulting process with your clients with the right expectations. Now, again, you could see your exact funnel live, and you could follow the procedure which I walked you through earlier in order to set this funnel up. Again, you have to make sure that the link to this funnel is inserted over here so that people can follow through. Make sure that this link is actually clickable, right? And it's important that you do so. In order to make this a link, you can also, I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's the option, and you just make that into a link, right? So that's what I would recommend that you do. And you can see what exactly each page consists of. I've told you about it in pretty detail already inside of this video. So if you want, you can read this. Otherwise, that's totally optional. Now, step number 3 is to send the e-contract to the client after they have made the payment. So I'm assuming that you only send this email once they have made the payment. Okay. Now, this step involves sending a client with an e-contract so that we can have a written agreement regarding the expectations set before. Now, an e-contract can be sent on automation using a software like HelloSign that costs $15 per month. It's not very expensive. You can buy it if you want this process on automation as well. Otherwise, what I can do is I'll show you this guide, how to do it in a free manner. Okay. So step number 1 is make a copy of the same. So you have to click over here to view or sample consulting agreement. And once done, you will have to make your own. Okay. So this is how the consulting agreement will look like. You have to change it, obviously, to your own company name, your own program, what your exact MVP will consist of, what it would not consist of, the timeline. Maybe you can let this be the same. You could change the email over here and your timings. You can let this be the same. And then the payment, how does the payment actually work? You can obviously change that, change it to your own name and everything else. Write the name, signature, date, and everything else, and you would be good to go. Okay. Now, once you have done that, you just click on File, okay, and then you click on Download, and then you click on PDF document. Now, it's recommended that you store it somewhere safely, so that whenever a new client comes, you can just quickly pull it out of your computer, preferably store it on Drive, and then you could just send it to them. Okay. Now, please note, while this contact is sufficient to protect your interests, it's still recommended to consult a lawyer depending upon the state that you're currently in. It's always a great idea. So after you have worked with your initial clients 5-10 or whatever, actually not 5-10, but at least like initial clients, right? You could probably invest in a lawyer and ask them for their consultation regarding the same thing and how you can improve this to make it even stronger. So that being said, the next point that you have to do is you have to go to a small PDF's website, which you can do by clicking over here. If this doesn't exist anymore, at the time of this recording, this website actually exists. But if it doesn't, then try Googling an alternative. Otherwise, you can use HelloSign and pay $15 per month. So as you can see, this is how it would look like, this whole um, small PDF software. And this is what we will be using in order to send the contract to our clients. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the document that we just have. I'm just going to download a PDF because now we have to upload the agreement template to this particular software. So I'll just go over here, click on File. Again, make sure you edit this and remove this when you're sending this out to your clients. Download PDF document. And then go over here, get this, drag it over here. And as you can see,
This should look fine. Now, again, I'm assuming you've changed all this. Okay. You should change everything until like this part. You shouldn't make any changes, because what you can do is you can just click on add text, and then you can just add the text to the date that we have today. Let's say 24th June 2020. You can also change the size, right? And then what you can do is you can also add your signature. Now, what you have is the option to draw it, upload it, or use the camera. Totally your choice. I would recommend probably, if you have a, a digital signature registered, then you could probably upload it. Okay. Otherwise, you can just draw it. Totally, whatever works for you. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to emulate my signature as closely as possible. And then just put that over here. And then click on finish. Now, as you can see, it has options. Now you have the option to actually download this exact same thing, or what I would recommend instead is click on send for signature. Okay. Now there was a network error inside of this, so we're just going to try it again. So actually there was a mistake before. So what you have to do is, rather than clicking on finish, you have to click on ask others to sign it. So you have to add these details over here. So what you can do is you could just write the name of your client, first name, last name, and then you could just do test@client.com, whatever their email is. Actually, wait, my bad. This is from you, actually. So it would be probably from something like rohandi@uability.in. And this will be sent to test@client.com. Hey, first name, really happy to have you part of our program. Please go through the contract, and if everything looks good, sign the same so that we can proceed. For any changes, please email rohandi@uability.in. And click on save and continue, and then click on finish and send, and bam, success. Okay. So this is now sent for signature request to this particular email, and then they would be able to sign the same thing and get you sorted. If we take a look at our document, you have officially sent your first contract to the client and just follow the exact same procedures. It's the same way I taught you. And then step number 4 is the final step, which is to book your onboarding meeting with the client. And this will be done on automation. So again, once somebody reaches step number 5 of your funnel, they will be able to select time on Calendly, and they will be able to book a meeting with you. Now, during this meeting, you will be discussing your future success strategy with them. In addition to this, you will be explaining to them about systems, tools of communications that you will be utilizing throughout this whole process to basically update them and everything else, right? So this is how the whole client onboarding process actually looks like, and I hope you were able to follow it through systematically. And just to recap what we covered today in this lecture: number 1, you learned about the 3 reasons why consultants and entrepreneurs actually fail. We discussed about the various issues that they face, and then I showed you how you can solve them using the 5-step onboarding funnel. I showed you how to set the right expectations before starting the work. We covered e-contracts and invoices as well. We also retrieved the assets from our clients to begin a consulting journey. Any kind of valuable assets, platforms, softwares that you require to start, we did that. We learned about their needs by giving them an onboarding questionnaire before beginning the work. And we also booked our first client meeting with them to brainstorm about strategies and everything. Now, in the future lectures, I'll be sharing with you what to cover during this first meeting and actually how to fulfill the project successfully. Now, that being said, let's recap the action items that you have to cover for today's particular lecture. The first one is to complete developing your entire onboarding funnel. There's 5 steps. It needs to be set up so that you can, fulfill the project uh, successfully with the right type of client. Okay, so make sure that this is built. Again, just one thing I would like to say to you: if you just signed a client and you don't have the time to build the whole funnel, then for now you can use the templates and everything else to just get started really fast and then build the funnel in the future so that this process can be automated. And then send a welcome email to your new client with the link to your new funnel, send them an e-contract, and ensure that they sign it, and retrieve all the important assets and information from your client. And finally, book and prepare for your first client meeting. So those are the action items for today. Just try to complete them. And that being said, I hope you found this video valuable. And in the next one, I'll see you where we will talk more about what exactly to cover during the first meeting and how to fulfill projects, and a long list of things that we still are left with to cover inside of this program.